Hey guys, happy Thursday. So of course I'm not here today. I am on campus. I'm just stuck at meetings all day. So I do apologize for that. But I told you guys I did want to finish what we started yesterday, modeling with linear inequalities. Again, modeling is where you take a math situation and then you apply it to the real world. And so we kind of got started yesterday. I want to make sure we get a little practice in today. So we're going to do this slightly different. This is part one of the video. I need to break it apart into two, maybe 10 minutes each video, just so that I don't rush through it. All right, but what you guys are going to do, you're going to take notes like you normally do, and you'll have two problems for your class activity. All right, at the end of today, when you finish the class activity, you'll check your answers with my sub, and you'll turn in your class activities, your two problems for your class activity, and also your notes into the inbox. I'll be checking both. When I get back today, I'll be checking your notes and your class activity, so you can technically do it all on the same page. Just make sure I can tell it apart where your class activity starts and where your notes end, okay? All right, so let's get started. So modeling with linear inequalities. All right, so our goal is to take a real world situation. So by the end of today, something like this: Mr. Benavides makes $2 per taco. All right, that's his profit. And we kind of saw this yesterday, right? 2t, or you can say 2x if you don't feel comfortable using t for tacos, and 5 per burrito. That's how much money he's making per burrito. So we said 5y, or you can say 5b. But he says here he wants to make more than he wants to make $300 or more. So notice this was greater than or equal to the 300. And we went through, we fixed it, we graphed it, and we were finding solutions, but we actually have to make sense of the solutions because they actually stand for something. And I want to make sure we get that point across today. So again, that's why I want to break it apart to two videos so I don't rush this because it's very, very important. And it's one of the most applicable things in your guys' life for making profit. All right. So let's jump into it. So again, key phrases, guys, from yesterday. Things like at least. So again, if you have to be at least 3 feet tall to ride on a roller coaster, again, you're gonna have to be. You can be exactly 3 feet or greater than that. So you're gonna end up using this guy right here, greater than or equal to. If it says something like no more than, so maybe there's a weight limit or a person capacity on an elevator. So I can say, hey, only 10 people can get on this elevator at once. No more than 10 people. So you can have 10 people exactly or less than 10 people. So that would be, it has to be below or equal to. So we say less than or equal to. And then we have this one here, more than. Okay, more than means strictly just greater than. So if I said, hey, you have to get more than a D to pass this class, well, you can't get a D. Okay, you're going to have to retake the course. You'd have to get a C or better. So again, more than is strictly above, and same thing with less than. So the example I gave yesterday is if, hey, you're going to have to retake the quiz tomorrow if you score less than a 70%. So again, if you score a 70%, you're okay. That was a C. But anything lower than 69, 68, 67, 66%, you'd have to retake it. Anything less than is 70%. Okay. And again, how does that affect it? Well, it's going to affect whether my line was solid or dotted. All right, so let's jump into example one. So I do, you don't have to copy, of course, the problem, but I do want to break it down into our 3 bullet points that we did yesterday. All right, so here it says, you and your friend have decided to have a jewelry sale for your class. In order to make money, you will sell necklaces for $9 and bracelets for $6. You want to make a minimum of $210. So let's pull out the important information. So this is what should go on your paper. So in example one here, it says, in order to make money, I want to sell necklaces for $9. So that's important right there. So let's write that down as our first bullet point. Necklace is $9. Okay. What else is also important here? It's going to be that bracelets. I also want to sell bracelets for $6. All right, so I'll put bracelets here for $6. Okay, and then the last thing is, well, what's our goal? Okay, you want to make a minimum of $210, and I'll explain what that means here in a second. Minimum of $210. And I think the easy ones, right, from yesterday, you guys were doing pretty well. How do you represent $9 per necklace? Well, let's just use 9 and the letter N. I'm going to use a capital N. Okay. And then bracelets, how did I represent that one? Well, $6 per bracelet. That's how much I'm selling them for. So I'm going to put 6, and I'm going to use a capital B so I don't confuse it with the 6, actually. And then this guy right here, the minimum. This was the kind of the awkward awkward part that it gets a little confusing. Which symbol are we going to use? So if you want to make a minimum of $200, okay, that's the lowest, that's the bottom, that's the bottom that you want to make there. So the minimum is the lowest. You want it to be greater than those $210, or maybe it's not worth your time, right? If you're only making like $100, maybe it might not be worth your time. So if you want to make a minimum of 210, well, you have to be somewhere over here, somewhere above. Okay, but minimum it also means that, hey, can I make exactly $210 and be okay with it? Yeah, a minimum. That's why we're going to choose this guy right here, because it has the equal to piece. So I need it to be greater than or equal to the $210. And of course, now how do we write our inequality when we put all these three pieces together? 9 necklaces, so the 9N plus the $6 per bracelet. That has to be, when I sell all that money that I make, it has to be greater than or equal to the $210. Okay? Well, let's go ahead and set this up so that I can go ahead and graph it and show my solutions, right? Write an inequality that represents the situation. That's here right there. But now on the next slide, I do want to graph it. So remember, let's get rid of our first variable here, our n. So we say minus 9n, minus 9n. Okay, and then I drop down, okay, cancels out. I drop down 6b is greater than or equal to negative 9n plus the 210. Okay, I got one last thing that I have to do here is get rid of that 6. So I'm going to go ahead and divide both sides by 6. Divide both sides by 6. Divide both sides by 6. Well, everything really gets divided by 6. Do I have to flip the signs? No, because these 6's were all positive. So those guys cancel out. I'll bring down b is greater than or equal to negative 9 over 6. And I can actually simplify that to make my life a little bit easier. N plus, and then what's 210 divided by 6? That's going to be 35. Okay, now again, I told you guys right here, if you take a look at that 9 over 6, I can actually divide top and bottom by 3. So I can actually turn this into b is greater than or equal to negative 3 over 2n plus 35. Why would I want to simplify? Because this would tell me to go down 9 over 6. That's gonna, I'm going to be counting a lot. It's a little bit easier to just go down 3 over 2, especially if we don't want to make such a large graph, right? Or we don't have the room for it. And again, guys, this is the inequality that I want to graph. If you're uncomfortable seeing b and n, you can still use y, okay, and x. It's still representing the same thing, just different variables, right? Because b stands for bracelet, n stands for necklaces, excuse me. All right, so let's jump over to the next slide here. Let me clear my page. All right, now I want to graph the inequality. Okay, so my inequality that I had was b is greater than or equal to negative 3 over 2n plus 35. Now again, think about it before you actually go ahead and graph it. What numbers am I going to start off? I'm going to start off at 35, and I'm going to go down 3 and then to the right 2. So I'm only really going to be a little bit difficult here. Hopefully you guys can bear with me on the calculator, on the computer here. Okay, so I'm going to go up to 35, and it wouldn't make sense to go by 1s, maybe by 2s, but this is an odd number. It's not even, so maybe let's go by 5s. So on your paper, go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, and why not 40? All right, and let me go actually the same way on the x-axis right here. Let me also go by 5s. Why not 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. And again, bear with me, guys. I don't have nice graph paper on here. So again, this is okay. This is going to be the expectation. I would take something like this. All right. Now let's go ahead and graph it. Let's graph all our possible solutions. Well, we say we normally start at 35 with our y-intercept. Okay, so we go all the way up to 35. There we have it. And I would scoot down 3. Negative 3 tells me to go down 3 and to the right 2. So let me scoot down 1, 2, 3, and then right 1, 2. Somewhere there. Okay, so again, let me count that one more time. 1, 2, 3, right 2 spots. I can actually keep it going one more time, I think. 1, 2, 3, and then write 1, 2. All right, so somewhere roughly right there. All right, now let's take a look. Solid or dotted line, it has equal to. So that means I can actually equal 210. All right, and now again, be careful with this one because it says B is greater than. So B is on the bigger side over here. So it's greater than, so I'm going to shade everything above. And it makes sense, right? If you're trying to make a minimum of $210, then we're shading above because we want to make more than this boundary line. Okay, if I found, so let's actually talk about the solutions here in a second. Okay, so what do the solutions really mean? That's what I had on my next slide, but let's talk about a few things. If you got something like 5 and 5, okay, would that be a solution? No, it's not in the shaded area over here, right? Remember that the first one here is representing the x, or in this case, n, and the second one was b, or y, right? Necklaces and your bracelets. So what if I what if I sold 5 necklaces and 5 bracelets? Would I even be reaching a minimum of $210? No, look how far away we are from this line. This is where I want to be. So again, 5 necklaces and 5 bracelets, I'm not even going to come close to the $210. So that would not be a solution. Okay. So what would be things like a solution? Well, maybe something like 20. And let me go up to here. It looks like 15 would work. So what if I have something like this, 20 and 15? What does this mean? Well, the first one was talking about necklaces. The second one was talking about bracelets, your X and your Y. So if I sold 20 necklaces and 15 bracelets, would I make a minimum of 210? Yeah, it's not just a minimum. The minimum happens on this line. I'm actually going to be making a little bit more than $210, which is nice. And again, that's where you start to figure out, hey, how do I maximize profit for my company, or how am I going to make the most money, or what are possible combinations that again that are going to get my company to be successful and make an actual profit. All right. Now again, these problems are, yes, a little bit watered down. They're not at the college level. They're not at the real world. In the real world, we see a lot more variables coming into these situations. But again, this is the foundation. If you have this foundation, we can build upon it later on and start a successful business. All right, guys. All right. So for example 2. All right, let's go through this one. All right, the video is actually going to cut halfway through probably this problem. All right, so make sure when it finishes, you guys go ahead and play the second part. Again, you guys should be taking notes. I will be collecting your notes and your class activity at the end of today. All right, you guys will check your answers with the sub and then turn everything into the inbox. All right, so let's talk about this one. It cost Taco King $2 to make a taco special and $5 to make a burrito special. They have a budget of $150. I want you guys to pause the video here and try it out. When you're ready to go, hit play and we'll write the equation together. Sorry, the inequality together. All right, so key parts. All right, guys, so what I did was I extracted here the important information. It said that $2 to make a taco special, so that's how much it costs them to make a taco special. Not how much they're selling them for, but how much it costs that company, right, to make that taco special. All right, and then $5 to make a burrito special. Okay, and it says that their budget, oops, I forgot to highlight that in green here, so you guys can see it, a budget of 150. So how can I translate this into an inequality? So again, how do I represent $2 to make a taco special? Well, maybe something like 2T. I'm gonna use a capital T so it doesn't confuse me with a plus sign. $5 for a burrito special, 5B. All right. And then this part right here, a budget of 150. So I have 150. Now, if you're on a budget, can you go above your budget? Can you spend above $150? You're not, right? You're not going to be able to be above that. You have to be below it. But again, does it have to be like 149, or can you spend exactly 150 and waste all your money? You can, right? You can actually spend 150 of your budget. So I'm going to use that symbol here. All right. So when I put this all together, it should say 2T plus 5B is less than or equal to 150. All right. So I want you guys to, I'm going to shift over to this part 2 of the video. So I'll stop right here. Take a second, see if you guys can fix that before we graph it here together.